told him that though? Because his statement is Wack.
And I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about Wack. Wack, loose cannon, 600, and it's in a...
Damn, triple
It's only been 3 years.
Obviously, you ain't going to court because you was going to court. Every time you go to court, they gonna let us know you going to court. So
I can't go to court for immigration if I got an open gun
what
case.
about the gun case, bull?
I can't go to court for immigration if I got an open gun case.
Your time.
Wack that told him that though? Because his statement is.
Wack 100 been out here hollering snitch so much, it's like he turned it into his personal hustle. But guess what? A leaked wiretap linked to 21 Savage just flipped this whole saga upside down. Now everybody's digging through that dusty old 2005 federal gun case like it's some fresh scandal ready to explode. And here's where it gets straight wild. What if Wack's been playing both sides the whole time? Picture this for a second. He's out here, running his mouth non-stop, clowning people as rats, and out of nowhere, he slips his hand into his wallet, and something shiny glints. A badge. Just that tiny flash might have exposed everything.
So yeah, after you got that message, After you got the message, you hit up Big U's wife. You said, "Sis, 911. 1 sec, let me get Solo." And you gave him a heads up.
What I tell him?
You said, "1 sec, let me get Solo. He needs to leave. Bad." In caps, all caps. He needs to leave.
I said so bad, right?
Yeah, folks.
Wack tried to brush it off like it was nothing, but folks ain't buying it. His statement, all shaky. He's claiming the badge moment was a setup or some misunderstanding, but come on, it's looking suspect. But that's not even the juiciest part of this mess. The real jaw-dropper is who supposedly leaked that wiretap. Word in the street says it wasn't no random fan trying to stir up drama. It was 21 Savage himself. Yeah, people are saying he's the one who let that tape loose, like he'd been sitting on it, just waiting to light Wack up when the time was right. And honestly, can you really blame him? Wack's been throwing dirt on 21 for years, calling him a snitch, saying he cooperated with ICE to clean up his paperwork, even dragging his name all through that YSL chaos. This saga is getting messier by the minute. He kept it cool, barely said much, just a little here and there, staying low-key until now.
Going through it. I said, "Yeah, I don't know nothing about this." He said, "Man, y'all too tight. I see Big U's signature. I see other signatures. I'm reading it." And what shook me was the police issued the device to communicate with law enforcement in form of a black man.
If he really dropped that wiretap, it wasn't some weak move out of spite. It was pure strategy. That wasn't petty at all. That was straight chess. After all those years of Wack sneak dissing him on Clubhouse, 21 finally clapped back, without even opening his mouth. That silence hit harder than any rant ever could. Now think about this. If you start connecting all the pieces, it's looking like Wack been out here hurling accusations left and right just to keep the spotlight off himself.
Use some time. I don't know, 24 hours, 12 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 1 hour. I don't know. I'm going to give you some time, though, Gunner, for you to go ahead on and confess.
Every time somebody gets exposed, he's already up in arms, screaming about it, trying to play defense before anybody even points a finger at him. And here's the kicker. This ain't the first time folks linked Wack to the feds. Just a few months ago, word got out that Big U was facing RICO charges. But before Big U even turned himself in, he dropped a video straight up calling Wack out, saying he's working with the FBI. That's straight wild. Here's where it all started feeling real shady. Before those RICO charges even hit the news, before any paperwork came out or a single arrest happened, Wack somehow already knew what was about to go down. He didn't waste a second. He hit up Big U's wife with this frantic message, something like 911, he gotta leave right now. Like, how did he even know all that before anybody else? This whole situation got folks side-eyeing everything he does. Yeah, for real, it's looking bad, bro. Before Big U even got picked up, Wack was already blowing up his wife's phone. That wasn't no friendly heads up. That sounded like a setup in disguise. Like he knew the raid was about to hit because he was the one who made the call. And here's the wild twist. Right after Big U got locked up, Wack jumped online talking reckless, flipping the whole script. He started claiming Big U was the one playing dirty, even saying he had a BlackBerry he used to talk to the feds. But instead of clearing anything up, all that noise just made people stare at Wack even harder. Seriously, how is Wack always the first to know every single detail? Always sitting in the middle of all the chaos but never catching any heat himself. That call to Big U's wife didn't feel like some act of loyalty. It felt like a double cross, like he warned the same dude he'd helped set up, trying to stay close enough to the flames to watch everything burn without getting singed. That's when folks really started side-eyeing Wack, thinking maybe he's not the street watchdog he keeps claiming to be. Maybe he's been running a whole other game behind the scenes this entire time. But this drama we're seeing now, it goes way back, like 2005 back. Way before all these clubhouse rants, there was that Texas incident. Wack 100 and his brother got pulled over. Nothing major at first, just speeding. Cops walked up, asked the usual questions. Wack told them they were headed to a funeral in Oklahoma. But when the cops asked to search the car, Wack said no. So boom, they called in the K9 unit. That dog sniffed out a whole stash sitting in the ride. A shotgun, a rifle, and a pistol, all loaded and ready. That moment right there started a trail of questions that still ain't been answered. Here's the part that just don't sit right with anybody. Both Wack and his brother were already convicted felons. Real talk, that's straight federal time waiting to happen. No debate. You don't just skate away from charges like that. Getting caught with all those loaded guns, that can end a whole music career before it ever kicks off. But somehow, Wack made bail and flew right back to LA like it was just another regular Tuesday. That's not normal at all. Then, out of nowhere, 2 years slid by with dead silence. No court updates, no trial dates, nothing. And boom, like magic, the whole case just disappeared, dismissed into thin air. But it wasn't because of lack of evidence or some little courtroom slip-up. Nah, the official reason was listed as in the interest of justice. Now hold up a second. If you ever paid attention to how the system really plays out, especially when felons get caught with heat, you know that phrase doesn't just pop up by accident. That's not some random act of mercy from a judge who woke up feeling generous. When they say in the interest of justice, it usually means somebody gave something up. Information, a name, a deal, something. Later on, Wack tried to spin the whole story, claiming the case got tossed out because the search was illegal. But that was straight cap. Court records were out there for anybody to check, and there wasn't one single word about no illegal search. That explanation fell apart real fast. Just a clean dismissal. No fuss, no real explanation. But here's the kicker, the timing. That's what really makes people raise an eyebrow. Just a couple years later, Suge Knight, Wack's old boss over at Death Row, started catching serious heat from the feds. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Suge's name showed up in a gang injunction. His whole crew got hit hard. Raids, wiretaps, names spelled out in black and white paperwork. But Wack? He stayed completely untouched. How's that even possible? His name was nowhere to be found. Not a single mention when Suge's whole squad was getting torn down. Then it got even wilder with that kidnapping case tied to Shaq. Yeah, the one that had the Main Street Crips all tangled up in the mix. When folks started digging through the court transcripts, somebody named Back kept popping up, making calls and leaving messages. And guess what? Word on the street is, Back was actually Wack 100 using a fake name. Fast forward to today, and Wack is all over the internet, pointing fingers like he's some street judge. He's coming for everybody, calling out Gunna, BG, Brick Baby, 21 Savage, even Jay Diggs. Nobody's safe from Wack's nonstop accusations. It's like every time something messy goes down, he's right there in the middle yelling about who's snitching, but never getting his own hands dirty. This whole thing is looking more suspicious by the day. He's out here acting like he's the one who sets all the rules about what's real and what's fake in the streets. But let's be honest, everything about that 2005 gun case just doesn't match the tough image he keeps selling. You don't just walk away from a federal case as a convicted felon carrying 3 illegal loaded weapons in your trunk, unless you've got insane luck, or you handed over something real valuable to somebody. And now, nearly 20 years later, a new video pops up. And what do people catch? A police ID flashing right out of Wack's wallet. That moment brought everything back to the surface. Not just the badge, not just the old drama, but that one question nobody's ever been able to answer. What exactly did he trade to walk away so clean? It's wild because Wack built his entire brand around one word, snitch. That's his #1 weapon. Every time a rapper gets booked or cops a plea, he's the first one on Clubhouse screaming that they folded. He did it to Gunna too. claimed he had a 2-hour interrogation video and even threatened to leak it if Gunna didn't come clean. But he never dropped that tape, just kept running his mouth like always. He even started throwing shots at BG, a dude who already put in over 10 years behind bars, talking about he snitched, but never once showed a single piece of paperwork to prove it. This whole thing makes you wonder, maybe Wack's been pointing fingers so nobody looks too close at him. Even BG's old cellmate came forward and said straight up, BG stood tall and never folded once. But Wack didn't care at all. He just kept running his mouth like he had some big proof, when in reality, he had nothing but talk. And yeah, to the folks only paying attention on the surface, it kinda works. He sounds like he's got some street code he lives by. The ones really watching? They started catching on to the pattern real quick. Wack gets the loudest when the pressure starts creeping his way. Every single time heat comes around him, he flips it, starts pointing fingers at everybody else to keep folks distracted. And here's the other thing that's just shady. Wack records everybody. That's not how real ones move. You don't hit record on every conversation unless you're planning to use it later. Or worse, hand it over to someone. That's straight suspicious, period. Now people are finally starting to catch on. Some of the rappers Wack brought onto Clubhouse ended up catching cases not long after. Like Loose Cannon, he went on there, started talking reckless, and boom, got jammed up right after. Makes you think, was that all just some random accident? Or was it part of Wack's play from the jump? Folks are side-eyeing everything he does now, wondering if he's been running a whole setup the entire time. Now people are finally starting to ask the real question. Was Wack setting folks up on purpose to talk reckless? Was he turning all these late-night convos into viral clips so prosecutors could swoop in and finish the job? This whole thing is looking way too coordinated, from how he stirs up drama and baits people into shouting matches to how all those leaks just happen to drop exactly when it benefits him the most. It might not all be cold, hard proof, but man, the pattern is loud as ever. At some point, you gotta step back and start connecting the dots. That leaked badge video? Yeah, it set everything on fire. But this ain't some brand new smoke. It's been building for years. Since that 2005 gun case that vanished into thin air, since Wack somehow knew about that Rico raid before the feds even made their move, since his name popped up in wiretap chatter, since that badge flashed on camera, and since he kept recording every conversation like it was part of a bigger plan. This ain't just sloppy behavior. It looks calculated, like he's been 10 steps ahead while everybody else was arguing. And the more folks rewind the timeline, the more it's starting to look like Wack's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. And here's the wildest part. Think about all the people he's called snitches over the years. Where's the paper trail? If they were really telling, there'd be receipts somewhere. But the only name that keeps showing up whenever cases disappear and charges fade away is Wack. Exposed? Or do the feds already know every move he makes? That's the question that's got everybody shook, because this situation just feels different. It's not just about proving whether Wack's working with the feds or not. It's about asking the bigger question. What if he really is? What does that mean for all the stories we've been sold? And for every platform that keeps handing him a microphone to run his mouth? Yeah, folks laugh about it online, calling it some wild conspiracy theory, but it's not funny anymore. Not when real lives are getting ripped apart because of shady moves and backdoor deals. Wack's been the loudest one in the room, yelling snitch at everybody for years. But now, people are side-eyeing him heavy, wondering if the one screaming the most was wired up from the jump. Because if that's the case, if Wack's been working from the inside this whole time, then this whole street game been tainted for years, and nobody even knew it. And here's the craziest part. He's not hiding. He's still out here talking loud, stirring up drama like nothing's changed. And whatever he decides to say next might be the last spark that blows the whole lid off everything. If you're feeling this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share it with your people. Catch you on the next one.